People often say the eyes are the windows to the soul. It's a phrase that has survived for centuries, not just because it's poetic, but because it points to something we all intuitively feel is true. But what if they aren't mystical portals to our very essence? What if there's something far more concrete and even more fascinating? What if they are windows into our attention, our thoughts, and our current inner state? Today, we're going to explore what modern neuroscience tells us about our eyes. They're not just for seeing. They are neurological instruments sitting right at the crossroads of perception and cognition. They are directly wired to your brain, intricately linked to your memory, your ability to detect threats, your social awareness, and even your decision-making. Simply put, where your eyes go, your attention follows. And where your attention goes, your mind is hard at work. From an evolutionary standpoint, our eyes developed not just to see the world, but to signal our internal state to others. Long before complex language existed, our eyes were essential survival tools. They communicated fear, safety, dominance, submission, curiosity, and trust. That powerful signaling system never went away. It just became more subtle. Modern science shows that our eye behavior reflects what our brain is doing in real time. It's not our thoughts themselves, but how our thoughts are being processed. This brings us to a crucial concept called neuroception, coined by Dr. Stephen Porges. Neuroception is our nervous system's ability to detect safety or threat without conscious awareness. Before you even think, your body knows. Before you speak, your eyes adjust. Think about it. When you feel safe and socially engaged, your gaze tends to be stable and flexible. But when you feel threatened, overwhelmed, or are just thinking really hard, your eyes often shift. You might look away, scan the room, or your gaze might freeze. This isn't deception by default. It's regulation. It's your brain trying to manage the situation. One of the most misunderstood behaviors is the averted gaze. That's when someone looks away during a conversation. Pop culture has taught us that this is a sure sign of lying. But the research tells a very different story. People most often avert their gaze when they are thinking deeply, trying to retrieve a memory, or managing a strong emotion. Looking away actually reduces sensory input, freeing up cognitive resources. It's the brain's way of saying, hang on, I need some processing space here. This is especially true during authentic recall. When you're remembering a real experience, particularly one that's emotionally charged, multiple brain networks light up at once. You have your memory center, your sensory areas pulling up images and sounds, your emotional processing regions, and your language centers all working together. It's a complex, distributed process, not a simple, linear one. Because of this, when someone is genuinely remembering, their eye movements can appear less controlled. They might drift, pause, or move unpredictably as their brain internally reconstructs a lived event. In contrast, fabricating a story or trying to construct a narrative relies more on working memory and executive control. It's a more effortful and often more controlled cognitive process. Here, the eye behavior might look more fixed, rehearsed, or strategically managed. Not because the person is being malicious, but because they are actively assembling information, rather than accessing . This distinction is subtle, and it's never absolute, but it's a powerful insight from cognitive neuroscience. What about those old ideas that looking in a specific direction means you're lying? Theories from early NLP claim that looking up and to the right, for example, was a sign of fabrication. These claims have been largely debunked and are not supported as universal rules. However, modern research does support a more nuanced idea. Eye movement reflects what kind of attention we are using. For example, recalling a visual memory often coincides with eye movements that relate to activating the visual cortex. Trying to remember a sound might involve different patterns. Engaging in internal dialogue often causes us to reduce our external gaze. It's not because our eyes are pointing to truth or lies, but because our attention is shifting inward or outward depending on the mental task at hand. Our eyes also track our cognitive load. When the mental effort required for a task increases, our blink rate might change, our gaze might disengage, or our focus might break. You can see this when someone is solving a tough problem, trying to remember a name, or dealing with a stressful situation. And we can't forget the social context. We humans are incredibly sensitive to being watched. Direct eye contact increases our arousal and self-awareness. That's why so many of us look away when we're thinking. Maintaining eye contact requires social processing on top of whatever cognitive work we're already doing. In safe, comfortable interactions, eye contact flows naturally. But in an unsafe or judgmental environment, our eyes can become defensive. This brings us back to neuroception. If your nervous system detects a threat, whether it's judgment, a power imbalance, or outright hostility, your eyes might avoid, freeze, or scan the area, regardless of your honesty. Our eyes aren't windows into our morality. They are windows into our current state of safety and regulation. Trauma can fundamentally alter eye behavior, not because of deception, but because the nervous system prioritizes survival above all else. Hypervigilance can lead to rapid scanning eye movements. Dissociation can result in a flat, unfocused gaze. A state of shutdown can cause someone to withdraw and avoid eye engagement entirely. These aren't personality flaws. They're adaptive nervous system strategies. In this sense, the eyes reveal how someone is coping, not who they are. There's also growing evidence linking eye behavior to what's called the default mode network. This is the brain network associated with self-reflection, daydreaming, and thinking about the past or future. When this network is active, our gaze often disengages from the external world. Our eyes might soften or unfocus as our attention turns inward. This is the state where we process meaning, identity, and memory. In contrast, when we're in a task-focused state planning, executing, controlling our gaze is often more focused and anchored to the outside world. Again, this isn't about truth versus lies. It's about a state of being versus a state of constructing. The eyes also play a massive role in empathy. Eye contact can actually help synchronize the nervous systems of two people, regulating emotional states between them. This is why a caring parent instinctively matches their child's gaze, and why a lack of eye contact can feel so unsettling. But here's the catch. Forced eye contact can feel threatening. Authentic engagement can't be demanded. It has to be felt. This is where so many misunderstandings happen. We're taught to interpret eye behavior with rigid, outdated rules. Look me in the eyes when you speak to me. Looking away means you're guilty. But neuroscience offers us a more compassionate and accurate perspective. Eye behavior reflects processing, regulation, and safety. Someone telling a true emotional story might need to look away to fully feel and access it. Someone carefully constructing a response might hold steady eye contact to manage the impression they're making. Neither is inherently moral or immoral. The eyes don't reveal the truth directly. They reveal how the truth is being accessed or not. They show us whether attention is focused inward or outward. They show whether the nervous system feels safe or threatened. They show whether cognition is scattered and authentic or controlled and constructed. They show us if the mind is remembering, imagining, or managing. In this sense, the eyes are not windows to the soul. They are windows to the current operating state of the brain. And when you learn to read them not as a tool for judgment, but as a source of information, they become one of the most honest signals we have. Not because they expose people, but because they reveal the intricate, beautiful work the mind is doing in that very moment. And perhaps the deepest insight of all is this. When we slow down enough to truly notice someone's eyes, we also regulate ourselves. Curiosity calms our own nervous system. Presence restores connection, and understanding replaces suspicion. The eyes don't ask to be decoded, they ask to be understood. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this interesting, consider subscribing for more insights into the human mind. See you next time.